All right, let's do this message. So yeah, I'm gonna freestyle this one too. I don't know too much what I want to talk about, but yeah, like definitely like Saints people, like they think they have control over God's people. That's what Saints people think. Like Saints people think they have control over God's people. Like saying, like he wants control over God's people type stuff. Like Satan really wants control over God's people. So now I'm keeping it real. The devil really wants control over God's people. So you understand, like the devil is sick in the mind. Like all these people that are used by Satan are sick in the mind. They want to try to control. You understand, the devil's obsessed with controlling God's creation to a death. The devil's obsessed with that. The devil was obsessed with that. That's why he got kicked out of heaven, because he wanted control over heaven. So the devil ain't nothing but a control freak. So everybody that's control freaks, you gotta understand, like the devil tried to make God look like he's a control freak, and everybody that's control freaks get it from Satan, actually. So you understand. Hold on, what am I saying? Okay, so yeah, the devil's trying to act like God is the control freak. And Satan people try to act like God's a control freak too. And I'll be honest, like the God they paint in Christianity and in religion, yeah, that's just, hey, it's whatever with that. But God is about bringing prosperity. God's about bringing peace. All sorts of stuff that's God is about freedom. God is about getting you outside of the box type stuff. And you gotta understand. So how is that control freaking? No, God's telling people what to do, basically, so they can be free, so they can break free from the control. But people think that's control. God trying to which it is, but it's control to try to get you into better results, better everything, better, just better, trying to better you. So, and me, I choose to listen to God. I'd rather choose, because look, you only got two options. Either you listen to God or you listen to the devil. Those are your only two options, and I just choose to listen to God. I just choose to be on God's side. I'd rather God control me than the devil controlling me type stuff. So that's just common sense shit. Like, why would you want the devil controlling you like that? The devil's a control freak. The devil does not want nothing good for me or anyone of God. Like, the devil does not want that. So I'm on God's side with this shit, to be honest. I'm on God's side with this shit. So yeah, like I said, like the devil trying to act like God is a control freak, and we see what Christianity religion has done with this stuff too. Yeah, it's like God is just trying to break everybody free from curses. How is that control freakish shit? Like, God is trying to break everybody free from curses. Like, that's not control freakish shit. God ain't trying to control people to just harm them or make them suffer. No, God is trying to control people to help them. To help them get free, to help them learn, or whatever they need to do to make it to heaven. Like, God is trying to help people, but these people reject that stuff because they think, oh yeah, God's trying to be a control freak type stuff, when that's not even the case too. That's not even what reality is. Reality is God is trying to get you into glory. God is trying to get you into, God is trying to make everybody, that he has interest in, obviously too, into legends, but people have a free will and they reject it. And obviously God has to have interest in you too for it to make sense. But that's what I kind of want to say too, is like the devil's the control freak. Satan's the control freak. Satan wanted control over heaven, and Satan don't even know how to run heaven. Like, Satan not God. Satan can't be God. Satan can't have all those secrets. Like, you understand? The devil don't even know all the secrets. And God he still don't. So it's like nobody knows God's full full identity and secrets and all that stuff. Like we don't know that shit. We don't know God's full identity and secrets. So, you know, God hasn't revealed everything to everybody. And God is on some outside the matrix type shit or whatever you would call it. I don't know how you describe it, but yeah, like God definitely like, hey, like that's what I'm saying. Like God knows more than everybody. So, you know, that's the way it is. Yeah, God knows more than us because He the creator. So why would I follow someone that's not the creator? And like what? I'd rather be controlled by the creator that knows more than me, that knows more than, that knows more than anything. Cause you can trust that more than you can trust a damn creation of God. To be honest, like, obviously you can trust Jesus creation of God, but like I'm just saying God knows more than everybody when it comes to like secrets and deep, you know, just deep stuff like that. I don't know. That's just the truth. That's just the truth. People ain't. You gotta understand. People need to understand that God's not even out to like bully everybody. He's just out to just help people, prosper, help people make it in life, help people. God wants to see His people succeed. Like God wants His people to succeed. God ain't trying to bondage His people. Like I think of an example. I'm thinking of an example. Let's say someone is smoking weed or something, and God says, yeah, we already know what God says about smoking weed, how that's against Him and stuff. People would think God's a control freak because God does not want them smoking weed. Which, yeah, God is, you understand, there's a bigger picture to all those things, and why God does not want y'all smoking weed. But that's just an example. That's just an example I'm using. There's a whole truth behind that, but yeah, that's just an example. Like, God does not want His people burning in hell type stuff. So this is what I gotta say. All right, I'm back. I'm back. But yeah, it's like, why would God want His people suffering? God does not want His people suffering. So like, that's why He is, has all these, rules. He gives these angels these rules. That's why you know, God gives His people different commandments to certain people. They get different. God tells His people different things, and you know, and stuff like that. Like, you know, you know, God tells me what rules He has for me type stuff too. And yeah, but for certain people, different things too are there. But like that's what I'm saying. Like it's all about getting us to prosper, getting us to have like you know what I mean. Like setting us free from situations, setting us free from different stuff. That's all God's trying to do is set us free. And you understand like there's more to life than just being in a box. You gotta understand, like I said this in past messages too. It's like the devil, he's trying to keep. Well, the devil basically trying to keep everybody inside a box. God is trying to, you know, you understand. That's like being trapped inside the box, inside a box, and born inside a box, and you don't see what the world is. Don't see the world, and then when you break free from the box, God is trying to make you free from the box, and people just not listening. People just doing their things inside the box instead of trying to break free from the box. And God's trying to have everybody break free from the box type stuff to see that there's a whole world out there. That's basically what God is, trying to do. So I gotta keep shit real with that. So yeah, basically God is trying to set His people free, and that's what it's about. That's all it's about. It's not about God trying to control everybody, and the devil is the control freak. Satan is the control freak because Satan don't even know how to run shit. Like how the hell can you know how to run shit when you're not the creator? God created your dumb ass. So how can you run shit when God created your dumb ass self? God's the fucking creator. Of course, he is gonna have the role to run shit because he the creator. And it makes more sense for the creator to run shit than a fucking creation motherfucker to run shit. Unless you like Jesus the Messiah or whatever, or have different roles, for God. But like I'm talking about for the devil to have the role as God, like come on, Jesus ain't even trying to have the role as God. So Jesus ain't even trying to have the role as God. Like Jesus has his own role as the Messiah. Is it the Son of God or something? I don't know too much about all that stuff. But I'm just saying like Jesus has his own role, and he ain't even trying to become God. Like come on. Jesus too smart to just try to steal over God's throne. Like, come on. Jesus already has his own throne. Yeah, of course. Of course Jesus has his own throne. But like, yeah, it's like that's what I kinda wanna say too. Damn, bro. Boom. Shit. But that's kinda what I wanna say. Much love, peace. Alright, here's the part two. This is so God wants the best for us. So yeah, like definitely like it's not about like trying to punish us. It's not to try to, harm us. It's just God wants the best, and that's what we gotta understand too. It's like, you know, it may feel like God is punishing us too. Like it definitely does feel like that. Like a lot of ways it does feel like that. But it's just God setting up things for the best, for what's you know, you gotta understand, like we have to go through the test, we have to go through the trials, we have to go through all that stuff, in order to get what we deserve. And that's the way it is. So like this is God wanting the best for us. It's like that's what it is. And that's why a lot of God's people had to suffer certain situations too, because you know God wants the best. God just wants the best for us. And in order to get the best, we got to go through the trial, we got to go through the test, we got to go through the persecutions, and we got to suffer. We got to suffer. Like we definitely got to suffer. And you know it's just how like God operates with this stuff too. God is gonna put his people through a bunch of shit, like, and me, we know my situation too. So we already know that. We already know that. But yeah, it's like definitely like everybody like and everybody that goes against, us will reap what they sow. We already know that. We already know that. Everybody that's ever went against me is gonna reap what they sow. They're gonna reap what they sow, and they're not gonna, you understand. That's already attached to, God wanted what's best for me type stuff. Because, you know, God has to create these things to happen because, God has better for me. God has something better for me. And, so of course God is gonna have a bunch of people to click on me because God has something better for me than, a bunch of, devils and shit like that. Like obviously that's what this world is filled with, is a bunch of devils. So God has to show me how it feels to, go through all these demonic attacks, all these witchcraft attacks, all these, all sorts of different things that, you know, the devil uses to try to, put me down or put his, you know, or just whatever the fuck I'm trying to say. Shit, I don't even know what I'm saying now. Yeah, like God has to use the devil to, have me know how it feels to, you know, go through it though. I had to know how it feels to go through it. And yeah, I have to know how it feels. And that's just part of, the journey is going through the devil. I have to go through the devil to know everything to it that. So I basically have to go through a bunch of, idiots in society, devil worshippers and everything too. Because we gotta understand, like these people are straight up, demonic devil worshippers or saying type stuff. So, so that's what I'm going through in society right now, is a bunch of demonic devil worshippers. And, these people are into heavy witchcraft, because you understand what witchcraft is. And that's what witchcraft is, what they're doing. So, you know, they're into all those things to it that, like all that, witchcraft, all that, demonic activity, and I'm not into that stuff. So of course, I gotta understand and feel what it feels like to go through a bunch of, witch attacks, a bunch, so I know what it is. So I know what it is too at that. So, and that all connects to God wanting the best for me. That all connects to God wanting the best for me because, you know, what if God didn't put me through all this stuff? Like, then I want to be able to get the best. I want to be able to get the best for me that God has for me, you know. So it's all that's what I want to add in there too. So that being said, much love, peace.